RMA training. So your best practices when you are returning equipment. So we're going to start kind of the nuts and bolts, just on the basics on how do you actually process a return? How do you go about doing these for your doors? So a lot of these resources are out there for you on our main website. The same website you order your phones from is where you're going to process your returns from. That's www.dciorders.com. So if you're looking at the presentation online, you can see a screenshot of what that page looks like. If not, it says, again, that's the same page you always order your phones from, the www.dciorders.com. Now, on this page, you'll see a bunch of hyperlinks on the very top. You have your dealer resources, your BMA program, that's for your accessories, your support links, the About Us, and even if you have friends that want to sell a Boost, how to contact us to become a retailer. What you want to do is click on the Support Links tab. Now, when you click on Support Links, you'll see 6 options pop up. You'll have an address change form request. So if you're ever doing a relocation in your store, that's where you would find that. RMA request, which is exactly what you're going to be doing in this case. This is for returns, so you're going to be clicking on RMA request. The other options there are ACH bank change form, in case you're ever changing your banking information, your DCI transaction agreement, and there's Team Viewer on there as well. If you ever need us to kind of hop in and see what you're looking at on your screens, you can download Team Viewer right from that link. But for today's call, we're going to be focusing exclusively on the RMA request button. Again, this is on the DCIorders.com website. You click on support links, and then you click on RMA request. This is your nuts and bolts for every phone that you guys have to submit a return for. Once you click on it, it's pretty self-explanatory, right? You're going to fill in the information as needed. So you'll see the name of the employee who's submitting the request. So whoever's doing the return just fills their information in. Please enter the email address where they should respond. So if there's any issues with the respond, do you want to go into that employee, or do you want to go into maybe your corporate store address or the principal's address? You guys need to decide at your location who is going to be in charge of handling the responses. Because if something comes back and you need more information, maybe you don't want to go into an employee that happens to be working that shift submitting to the RMA. Maybe you want to go into a manager, right? A manager or an owner or a district manager. So you'll put the employee submitting it, you'll put the email address and who they should respond to, and then your sales portal ID. Your sales portal ID is that, I believe it's about a 5-digit number. When you go onto the Boost sales portal, so that's where you see all your information from Boost, you have all your tabs with your quick links, all that good stuff. Your sales portal ID number will be in the top right-hand corner of that page. If you don't know it, you can reach out to your Boost account manager. We can help walk you through where to find it. But if you go to that Boost sales portal, in the top right, you'll see sales portal ID. You want to make sure you enter that number in as well. After that, you're going to enter the ESN of the phone, or the CMAC if it's an Xfinity box. And then you're going to enter the device issue. Now, this device issue drop box is very important. It's caused me personally having dealers getting stuff that's denied, that shouldn't have been denied, and it's because dealers aren't selecting the correct issue. So when you're filling out this form, this drop box isn't just arbitrary. Oh, just click whatever you want. No, you must be super accurate when choosing your dealer issue. So your issues could be power, like the phone will not power on and shut down. A software, if the phone's freezing or resetting. The screen, if there's nothing with physical damage, but the screen's not working. Microphone or speaker, if it can't go on speakerphone or they can't hear. If the new device is showing as previously activated, make sure you select that box. You go to activate it and it says, can't activate it, device is already active. That would be your choice. If there's an out-of-box failure and you can't activate it, you can select there. No service or no reception. Or if it's an Xfinity box, customer's not in a serviceable area and they want to return it, you select that option. Otherwise, select other. So if your choice is not on this list, very important, and this is a best practice, click other, and then there is a box that says device issue, and you can write down what's wrong with it. So for example, I had a dealer have a phone that came and it was damaged out of the box. It was like the back was coming out of the phone. And they put whatever option they chose. They didn't put other. They selected an option. When our warehouse gets it, they deny the claim because they look at this as physical damage, right? What the dealer should have done is clicked other and should have written in the box, this phone was damaged right out of the box. The RMA was submitted within 30 minutes of opening it. It was inactivating it. The RMA was submitted because this was physical damage right away. This isn't anything the customer did. So if you select other, they're gonna see that text and they can work that issue right away. If you don't, if you select something else like, oh, this is the screen or whatever the case may be, it's gonna get denied. And then the dealer's gonna come back and say, hey, this shouldn't have been denied. This phone was broken right out of the box. And upon further research, you find out, well, you didn't select the right reason when you submitted it, which is why it was denied. So now you have to submit an escalation and get that approved. And so we've done all that, and we help you guys out because you guys are everything to us, right? So we're gonna help you out. But to avoid all that, just select the right reason right out of the box. Make sure that you are choosing it correctly. If your issue is not on this list, please select the other option and put the exact issue in that device option field. So of all things on this call today, this is going to say is what's the most important to you is choosing your reason. We have Adam, so many. Yep.
Do you mind if I interrupt for a minute?
Go ahead.
I wanted to add to just that example that you provided to the team. So I also did some more research to it. So just for the team also, so you know that we don't blindly deny these requests from you guys and we move on to the next box. So please know that we go that extra mile and we verify if we can get exception for you. But in that particular situation, Adam, that you presented, that phone was already active. And if it's active and it has a damage like that, then that exception will be denied. So it's very important that you guys, especially when it comes to these renewed iPhones, please open the box, inspect the phone first before you attempt activation. And if you come across a situation like the one where the phone is actually damaged, then submit that RA request right away. And please do not proceed with activation because if it's active, that will be denied.
Yep. And then you have to go through and see if we can get an exception on it. There's just so many more hurdles. So thank you, Robert. That's an absolutely great point.
No problem.
All right, so once you fill out your information on there, you've selected your issue, or if your issue again is not on there, select other, put a detailed explanation of what's going on. Click on your retailer acknowledgement, you agree to the terms and conditions, and submit it. All right, so easy peasy, right? So that's your basics on how to return a phone. Now let's go through the terms and conditions on what phones are eligible or are not eligible to return. So, new Boost Mobile handsets purchased from DCI are eligible to be returned based on the following criteria. The return must be within 60 days of the retailer purchase and within 7 days of customer activation. So again, and I have a slide later in the deck, but I'm just going to remind you here as well. Practice FIFO, first in, first out. The inventory that you get in should be always pushed to the front of your pegs. Your newest inventory should always go to the back of your pegs because those returns, the phones you get in stock have to be sold within 60 days of when you bought it from DCI. And the returns will be accepted provided they are within 7 days of that customer purchase. All right. So if you got a phone that was sitting there on your shelves for let's say 4 or 5 months because you ordered too many, you want to do an RMA on it, well, now you're over your 60 days of retailer purchase, so that RMA would be denied. So that's why, again, very important, best practice FIFO, first in, first out. Your newest inventory should go to the back, and your oldest inventory should always go to the front because you want to sell that first to make sure it is always qualified for returns if needed. So 60 days from when you purchase from DCI, and within 7 days of when that customer activates. All right, those are what qualifies for your RMAs. For manufacturer defect, those are devices that experience operational issues within the first 7 days, such as powering down, blank screen, Those will show up as active on Sprint's network, again, 7 days or less. Customer remorse, if a customer buys a phone, they just decide they don't want it, again, they do still have 7 days to return that phone, and you can do an RMA on those as well. Again, it'll show active for 7 days or less on the Sprint network. So in all those scenarios, whether it's manufacturer defects, customer remorse, or whatever the case may be, it's 7 days from when that customer activates it is the time they have to return it. In addition to that, you have to have that phone for 60 days or less. So when you're planning out your inventory, you don't want to buy 500 units of a phone. Plan for what you're going to sell through in 2 months. Other criteria that are eligible for returns are DOA out-of-the-box failure. So these are the type of devices that can't be activated due to manufacturer defect, issues that are preventing the device from being activated. They won't show any activation date on record because you're not going to be doing anything right out of the box. For all returns, the product must be returned complete without damage or abuse. All the items included in the original packaging must be returned. The Xfinity prepaid kits are non-refundable. Defective exchanges may be approved, and that's within 30 days of customer purchases. So Boost Phone 7, defective Xfinity kit, you can exchange within 30 days of that customer purchase. Any questions on the return terms and conditions?
Hello, can you hear me? I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
About the Xfinity, the prepaid kits. What happens when a customer has had it for like 3-4 months and the tech goes over and the tech tells them and Xfinity tells them to bring it back to the store and exchange it for another one?
There's an issue with the customer care box. They're calling for Xfinity, and we see that a lot, right? They're saying go back to the store. They're just getting bad information, and I don't know why Xfinity hasn't changed their care number, because when they're calling, they're getting Xfinity postpaid care. They're not even getting the prepaid care. So you guys can't do anything about that, unfortunately, and it's been an ongoing issue.
Okay, so once it's the 30 days, then we cannot do anything to help them at that point.
Yep. Okay. If they come in and they give you that, I would reach out to your Xfinity rep and see if there's any exceptions they could do or anything they can do to help. But no, you can only do what the policies and processes are, and it is just an issue as they're getting bad information from postpaid Xfinity care.
And then in that case, where would they get their box replaced at?
They wouldn't. They would have to get a new box.
But they can buy a new box then? Okay, they can buy a new box from us and then just update it with them? Okay, perfect.
Yep.
Thank you.
Hey, Yvonne, this is Robert. I think you probably better dealing with that Xfinity rep in a situation like that, because we've been also hearing conflicting information from Xfinity, and we're also working with them closely to make sure that we are on the same page with customer care. So there's the same expectation for us, and so there's no misinformation coming from the customer care. So we're working on improving that, but I definitely would suggest to contact that Xfinity rep to better, service that customer and to find a solution for it, because at the end of the day, right, they're our customer, right? So if they leave the store angry, right, the chances of them coming back to us are very slim at this point. So I would definitely go that extra mile and talk with that Xfinity rep to see what options we have.
Okay, will do. Thank you, Robert.
No problem.
All right, so for the process on these returns for the Boost Mobile products, you can check the MSN lookup tool on the Boost Mobile sales portal to verify the activation date. So if a customer comes in to return it, to make sure it's within 7 days, you can use that lookup tool just to make sure. If you guys don't have it in your internal records, you can find it on the sales portal as well to make sure it is falling under that 7 days. For Xfinity products, there's the no returns or defective exchange only. You got to call the Xfinity dealer hotline to have Comcast send a replacement unit to the customer. You may swallow the device in store and request an RA with DCI if it's under those 30 days. If within eligibility parameters, you're going to submit your RA request or your RMA online via the DCI RA request form. Again, we just covered that, DCIRMA.com, to receive your return authorization number. Now, here's the important piece on this. The RA number request must be submitted within 14 days of the deactivation of the device. So again, those customers have 7 days to get that phone back to you, and you have 14 days to get that RMA into DCI. You're going to return the device with a printed copy of the approved RA email to DCI. Again, the return device must be received with an approval RA number by DCI within 14 days of the initial RMA approval. So once you get that approval number, you can't sit on those phones, let them collect dust. You need to get those in within 14 days to DCI. It's the retailer's responsibility to ship those devices to us at DCI in a timely manner. Units returned after the 14 days of the RA number approval or units received without an RA number will automatically be shipped back to the retailer with a $20 per device return fee. Let me also call out here, all of your RAs have to be done one at a time. So if you have 5 RMAs, you have to submit 5 RMAs. You cannot submit multiple RMAs on a single form. Every RMA has to be its own individual submission. The retailer may not return any devices that have been abused by the retailer or the customer. So that's, again, physical damage. So this plays into that example that I gave earlier, is that phone came out of the box for physical damage. So that needed to be submitted as other phone came out of the box physical damage. You know, you can take a picture, send it in if you want as well, because normally physical damage is not approved. In the scenario that I was speaking of, that phone, they literally opened out of the box and the phone was already damaged. If your customer damages the phone, say they come back on day 5 and that customer comes back and like, oh man, I don't like this phone, this battery's popped out. Well, it's day 5. Sorry, you know, hopefully you put protection on their phone, then you can make an insurance claim. But if not, no, that cannot be RMA'd if there's any physical abuse on those devices. So cracked or broken screen, a worn or missing keypad, missing or stripped screws, broken connectors, water damage, anything like that will not be allowed to be returned. For your RMAs, please allow up to 10 business days for us to process these internally at DCI. All receipts and credits, the receipt and the RA number is not necessarily an approval. Once your return meets all the requirements, DCI will issue an account credit to the original retailer that purchased the equipment. For each properly returned device in the amount of the current selling price, less any price of protection or other spiffs, in other words, you're going to be made whole. So a lot of mumbo jumbo in there. You return the device, you're made whole on the device as long as it's approved. Important reminders: when sending your phones back in, they do have what's called condition charges. So it's you got to have everything that came in the box, right? So if you have a missing or damaged battery, that's a $20 charge. If you have a missing or damaged charger or SIM, you know, don't take those out of the phone, send everything back the way it is. That's a $5 charge. If you have an incomplete, incorrect, or missing RA number, again, that's going to be sent back to you with that $20 fee. So we'll make sure they're submitted correctly. New unsold equipment deemed as stock balancing. So stock balancing is kind of that unique situation that require an exception. If approved, it's a $25 restocking fee per device. All fees will be invoiced and automatically debited by your account on file on the following business day. And devices suspected of fraud or stock balancing may be investigated and are subject to chargebacks. Once you have the returns, this information is on the webpage as well, but you can send them all to our corporate office. So you can send them to DCI RMA at 4200 West Victoria Street, Chicago, Illinois, 60646. So when I was speaking with our office staff, those that like the Marias of the world, the Ophelias of the world, those that are handling the returns, what are the best practices and biggest issues they're experiencing? One thing they wanted to make sure you guys were aware is that DCI is currently backlogged with returns. So it may be taking more than 48 hours to get a response. They're working very hard to complete the returns as needed, and making sure the RMAs are submitted correctly is going to help them a lot. So that's kind of why we're having this call. Is we're in flux with returns right now. And a lot of dealers aren't selecting the right reason, which is making this process take more and more time when those phones come in. So we want to make sure you guys are selecting the correct reason for your returns. Again, if none of the choices approve, I've counted on this probably 4 times in this call already, check the other box and put the details in of exactly why this phone is being submitted. We are seeing a lot of pre-activated phones come out. So these phones that we're sending to you that we're getting from Dish, we're getting multiple RMAs come in that say this phone's already active. If you get a phone that shows already active, you cannot activate that device. You need to do an RMA and send it back in. We're seeing a lot of those, like hundreds of those. It stinks. It stinks for you guys. It stinks for us. It stinks for everybody. But those phones will have to be RMA'd and sent back in. Those pre-activated units have been a big problem. So make sure you write the correct issue. And for that one, it's new device showing as previously activated. So if you guys are getting phones that are pre-activated, when you're choosing your option, new device showing as previously activated, they actually just recently added that to the Dropbox on the RMA forum because we're seeing so many of these. That's what you need to select.
And Adam, if I can also add to this on the pre-activated devices. So Boost recognizes this issue and they're working their best to correct this behavior and get rid of that problem. But in the meantime, they added that option also on their end when it comes to returns. So we don't have to go through the exception process on pre-activated units like we had before.
Yeah.
Those are being approved on the spot. That's number one. Number two, if you're not seeing a response from DCI on return requests, please email your DCI account manager with specific IMEI that you're missing, RA approval, and we'll do our best to identify that and see where that is in the process, and we'll get back to you on this as soon as possible. So that's it.
You got it.
Thank you.
So, thank you, Robert. So any questions on these best practices or return issues?
There was one in the chat.
Mm-hmm.
If we received devices that have reactivation fees but were not opened, do you need us to open before shipping out?
I don't think you need to open them up. I mean, if you're submitting them on the DCI-RMA.com with a specific reason that it was pre-activated device, once you get that RA approval, you can ship those devices back to us.
Good answer, Robert. That's what I was going to say too, but I wasn't sure. So good answer.
Oh, I'm sorry for stealing the tandem.
No, thank you. Any other questions?
And then I think I can also add that, again, right, if you are submitting incorrect reasoning on the DCI-RMA.com, yeah, well, absolutely. You'll help us a lot if you choose the right reason. That will speed up tremendously that process. But in a situation like the one we described earlier, I wanted to assure you that we go that extra mile and then we try to get that exception for you if we do see that this was something that you brought to our attention, that device came defective in the box. We'll definitely make sure that we will request that exception for you.
Very good. All right. So again, if you have a phone that's previously activated, and you have the RMA submitted, this is another best practice. All right. So let me slow down and back up. If you have a phone that was previously submitted, or previously activated rather, and you've submitted the RMA, and your status says pending exception, which hopefully we don't see that now because we have that Dropbox. But if you do have a phone that was previously activated and you have an RMA submitted and the status says pending exception, per the head of our return department, just send that phone in. So if it's previously activated, you have an RMA submitted, just send it in. You don't need to wait for it. Get that phone into us, and so we can get this process moved along a little quicker. Again, we talked about doing FIFO, first in, first out, and reminder to do hard counts of your inventory weekly as well. Make sure you guys, your inventory is accurate and you're balancing it. Do those hard counts as well as practicing that first in, first out inventory controls. All right, so I got a couple minutes left, so I wanted to hop in just as a reminder. So that's all we have on the RMA process, but just want to give you a quick reminder, sales update wise. As you know, we're coming to the end of November. It's our big selling time. We have Thanksgiving coming up, Black Friday, and then December, a great month for us as well. So our November priorities, number one is that Boost Transform network. So all dealers need to be activated in BYOD, Galaxy A32s, and Moto Pures now on that BTN network. We do have an exclusive contest that I'll remind you about on the next slide for all doors that are activated on the new network, and it's tons of swag. It's great prices. We want to make sure you guys are continuing to push SDDN. So while we are focusing on Boost Transform network or our Black SIM card network, we also cannot lose focus on our SDDNs, which is the transition to our orange SIM cards from the old yellows to the oranges, right? So January 1st is that date where towers will start being shut off. We have a month and 2 weeks. We are in crunch time. A lot of the customers who have not switched over may have needed to update their phones or upgrade their phones rather. Now they're getting texts from Boost every week saying, hey, that network's gonna be shut down. You got to make a change. So get those customers switched over, get them on our TN network. Or if they're going to an A32 or Moto Pure, you can get them on our, oh no, they'd be existing customers, so never mind. Get them on our TN network. Those SCDN customers, get them on our orange SIMs, big push through January 1st. Also, EBBP, we now have that tablet out there. What a great gift for your kids for Christmas, where they can have a 35 gigs paid for by the government every month on a tablet that only costs them $10. So that is available for you guys as well. Other priorities is you want to keep focus on the Unlimited Plus plan. So make sure you guys are selling that with protection. $67 a month because you only need talk, text, data, high definition video streaming plus protection on your device. That's again on our TN network. Our family line plans and add-lines are also important. And get comfortable with that new Elevate platform. You can take payments on it for everybody. You know, so besides doing your BTN or your Black SIM card network activations on there, you can take payments on that new network. You want to get comfortable with it because that's going to be the way of life moving forward. You know, we may be a month or two away from that once we have more phones eligible, but eventually you're going to be switched to it. So make sure you're very comfortable with that. That DCI contest I mentioned, this is the last week. November ends November 18th. But I think I sold November 12th to November 18th. Man, we spent thousands of dollars on this contest. The first place door, and again, this is all around the Boost Transform network. The sales associate of the store with the highest number of Boost Transform network activations will receive a Boost down jacket, $350 value for the entire team. Sales associates of the store in second place will get a Boost Transform, will get the down vest of a $250 value. So first place gets the coat, second place gets that vest. Those are three, and that's per rep, right? So you guys crank this out. You got a couple of days left. Third place, you're going to get the Boost fleece, still very nice. Not made of down, but still awesome. And then all associates who are getting sales out there are getting a mug as well. So we got a couple of days left on that. Want to make sure we give you one final reminder to get your sales going. You don't have to submit anything to enter it. It's just sell the phones. Sell them on that new network. So get them out there today. Get them out there tomorrow. Get them out there Thursday. And hopefully you guys can win some prizes during this last week of the month. All right, that's all I got for today. We'll open up. Are there any final questions?